Okay. All right. Welcome to the 10 podcast we're recording in Lincoln today at the Lincoln Partnership for Economic Development. Shonna Dorsey here, and I'm with the Exarban Foundation and oversee the Tech Collaborative and intern Any powered by Exarban. Anyway, enough about me. Today, I'm here with one of my favorite people, Brian Ardinger. Good to see you.
Hey, Shonna. It's great to be here.
Wouldn't that be funny if you didn't say anything and people were like, are you?
Exactly.
Are you?
Empty room.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, good to see you. I've known you for a really long time, I think since 2014 when I was just kind of getting started in the startup space, didn't know anybody, and you were one of the most welcoming people, and I appreciate that. So tell us about you.
Excellent. Well, my name is Brian Ardinger. My day job is I'm Director of Innovation at Nelnet. I got to that position in a variety of ways. Like you said, we probably met in 2014. But I got involved in the startups ecosystem about 2012. I was the director of InMotion. I created it. I was with New Tech Ventures as the entrepreneur in residence and thought there would be a great opportunity to build a community around entrepreneurships and startups, raise a little mini angel fund, and start pulling the community together from a mentor perspective, and created InMotion as a way to see if we could help accelerate some great new startups. And we tried it as an experiment for 3 years, and it worked. Companies like Quantified Ag came out of it, Live By, Realm 5, and raised a second fund, and I stepped away from running it. But it continues today with Generator, and it's been great. I think over 100 companies have kind of come through that particular accelerator program. So that was kind of where I started, where I got involved with a lot of the stuff in the startup ecosystem. Through that journey, I've done a lot of different things in the innovation space. Started the Inside Outside Innovation podcast long before podcasts were cool. Mm-hmm. Continue to do that, and a weekly newsletter where we kind of keep people up to date with what's going on in the world of innovation. As part of that journey, I kept meeting great innovators from around the country and said, hey, why don't we see if we can bring them to the Midwest and have conversations around that. So in 2017, we started the first Inside Outside Innovation Summit. Mm-hmm. So the IO Summit, we brought in probably 400 to 600 people every year for the last, I think this is our 6th or 7th year that we've been doing it since 2017. We had a COVID year in there, virtually and otherwise. But yeah, the idea is, how can we bring the ties and the t-shirts, the tucked and the untucked together to talk about innovation? A lot of the things that happen with startups when it comes to creating new stuff from scratch are the same struggles that happen inside bigger companies when they're trying to innovate. They're trying to spit up new ideas and get things moving and make an impact. And so the conference is really about how do we help people make that impact, make the connections they need, get the information they need, and give them the inspiration they need to make that happen.
Okay, this is great. So I know it's coming up in November.
November 11th.
I was going to say 11/11. It's such a perfect day.
That was all well planned. It was also well planned because Silicon Prairie Startup Week is happening that week, and so we decided together let's kick off the week with a great opportunity to bring folks together from all over the Midwest and all over the United States. So it's going to be at the Rococo Theater, November 11th, from 8 to 5, and we've got a lineup of amazing speakers, and we can talk a little bit more about that. But the whole goal is to bring entrepreneurs and innovators and the various innovation curious folks together to learn and interact and have an impact.
Okay, this is great. So you mentioned the ties and the t-shirts, bringing those together. Love that. Tell us why a Nebraska-based or any based enterprise company should send a team member to a summit like this.
Yeah, so first of all, I think as we all know, and maybe if COVID didn't make that 100% clear, but disruption is happening and everybody can be disrupted. I mean, I've been in this space for a long time and I've been talking about the power of technology and software and things to change the world. And I think a lot of people kind of painted lip service for a long time until things that happened to everybody and realized industries are not going to be the same. The way we work is not going to be the same. The technologies we use are not going to be the same. And so we have to start building that muscle of adaptability and innovation in that. And so I think there's a lot of folks out there that have never had to be a founder, have never had to think about, how do I create something from scratch? But yet it's a skill set everybody's going to have to start building muscles to, because the ability to do what you do over and over for 20, 30, 40 years is gone.
Yes.
And so how do we start building those skills and giving people access to, creativity and innovation that they need?
Mm-hmm. I love that. And so then it kind of is helping people go from the mindset of I'm a doer, a task person.
Yes.
I don't even know what the word is. But anyway, a doer versus like I'm coming into this space. I have a defined job title or whatever that is, but I can bring new ideas and ways of thinking to.
And I think it's also, if you think about it, most people are, most people don't have to be founders, and most people aren't founders. That kind of takes a crazy person to decide to, create something 100% from scratch.
Yeah.
But having said this, I think a lot of people are innovation curious. Mm-hmm. They want to have some skill sets that, make them stand out in the job force. They want to have the ability to take an idea and say, hey, I might not want to create a company from it, but I want to start something and I want to find the right people and the right things to move that idea forward, create some value. And so, like I said, the conference is really about not only, the entrepreneurs that are doing it, but also the innovation curious. Yeah. Like just to get some of the technologies or some of the trends or some of the tactics that entrepreneurs and that use so that you can start building that toolkit and building the muscle of innovation.
Yeah, I love it. So just so you know, I did turn off the timer because we have a lot to cover.
Okay.
And this will be not a 10-minute podcast. It'll be 10 plus something. So 10 works, but 10 plus. So anyway, you're 6 years into this now. What are some of your favorite stories? And I really want to definitely focus on the full spectrum, but I'm really curious about some of the bigger companies you've worked with who are Nebraska-based that have sent people through the IO Summit and have connected more to the startup ecosystem and some of the outcomes from that.
Yeah, so we've obviously had a variety of folks that have participated over the years. I think we had over 3,000 attendees and hundreds of speakers literally from all over the world that have come to Nebraska. And it's one of the things I reach out to these folks that really have never necessarily thought about, innovation in the parts of the world that we live in, and say, I give them the pitch. Hey, there's a lot of stuff going on here. You need to be a part of it. Come out here, and I promise to, put you and surround you around with some interesting folks in that. So that's been a great opportunity to bring folks from the coast. Those connections have helped, both the connections of the folks that are building things here to have those connections to the coast. But I think more importantly, those folks go back to the coasts and start telling, conversations about, hey, I went to Nebraska and hey, there's some interesting things going on there. Locally, there's a lot of great things going on and a lot of great companies that have been a part of it. Everything from Nelnet. Before I joined Nelnet, they were a big sponsor in the event and have helped kind of encourage entrepreneurship and innovation around the city and the state. We've got companies like Olson, who's a new sponsor this year and who's very interested in trying to grow and expand their innovation efforts. Mutual of Omaha, Emeritus, Assurity, a lot of the folks that you hear about around here that are very interested in making a difference, First National, et cetera. And I think it's I think the reason they keep coming back, they keep sponsoring, is the fact that they have an opportunity to send their teams to, not only kind of see what's the latest, greatest things happening, but to start building those community connections. And I think the more of those collisions that we can make, the better off our community is going to be. One of the challenges with this type of conference is that, most corporations are not very good at innovating. Mm-hmm. Most corporations are designed to execute a business model that they've been executing for 120 years, like Union Pacific or Berkshire Hathaway. They've been around forever doing what they currently do. The challenge is those industries are disrupting and the technologies are changing such that they have to keep up. And what better way to do that than to spend some time with entrepreneurs and others who are shaking things up.
Absolutely. And one thing that is so interesting for businesses to think about is not only what better way to mix up with entrepreneurs who are already doing that, but why not send your own staff who have business acumen, they understand your company, industry, all of that, to this space where they can tap into these creative approaches and then bring those back to the office to do more interesting things for your company.
I think that's one of the biggest things that I've heard from people that have come to the conference. They come in with low expectations. They're like, okay, I'll see some interesting things. I'll hear some interesting talks. But what they really find out is like, hey, I can do this. Mm-hmm. Even the best entrepreneurs we put on stage are normal people who've done extraordinary things. Mm-hmm. And so by seeing those nuggets and understanding the journey that they go through, you can take some of those skills and apply it to what your products that you're optimizing, the things that you're doing within your business, and quite frankly, just jazzes you up with some more creativity and some more folks that you can tap into when you need it.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about conferences in general. So I remember pre-COVID, I would go to, HCC, the different conferences pretty much annually. But COVID hit, everything went virtual, and I was like, this is awesome. I don't have to drive anywhere, wait for anything, blah, blah, blah. And I just wonder about conference participation and how do you continue to make it engaging so people keep showing up?
Yeah, well, it's a challenge. I mean, one of the things that we've done and constantly, eating our own dog food from the innovation perspective is we've never had it at the same venue. So the first year we had it at Pinnacle Bank Arena. We had a big startup showcase, and on the floor, Company Cam presented and won a $100,000 investment in a pitch competition. So there's a lot of things we did there. The next year we had it at the Graduate Hotel, a little bit more intimate affair. We've had it at the Johnny Carson Center for Emerging Media Arts, right when that building first opened, as a new kickoff to one of the great programs that's happening on the University of Nebraska's campus. Then we had a virtual version. 2 years ago, we had an Innovation Campus, and then now we're going to have it at the Rococo Theater. So that's one thing, changing the venue, changing how collisions happen. One of the things we've also been very focused on is everybody's in the same room, so you get to hear the same speakers. You're not, spread out with 20 different tracks and figuring out, well, what am I going to miss? And that everybody gets to hear a variety of different topics, a variety of different speakers, and a variety of different interactions. And then we also build in quite a bit of networking time. So we have long breaks. We have a 90-minute lunch that we're going to host over at the Johnny Carson Center. There are going to be things that are going on there. There's going to be a buffet or food or whatever for your lunch, and an opportunity to have table talks and interactions. And then this year, we're actually, at the end of it, we're heading right into the Silicon Prairie Startup party or the opening reception for Startup Week. And in addition, InMotion is going to have their Demo Day Accelerator showcase. So there's something to happen all throughout the day, and you're going to have a lot of opportunities to connect with folks.
That's great. Okay, so what if you're a shy person who goes to one of these events and you're like, okay, this is great. There's all this exciting stuff happening, but I don't know who to talk to. I've never done anything entrepreneurial. What do I do?
Yeah. One of the reasons why we do have like the one track is because it does make it easier. No matter who you walk up to or standing in line, waiting for a snack, you can say, hey, what about that last speaker? Everybody has a kind of shared or similar journey and similar things they can talk about and engage with that. Quite frankly, I'm an introvert. You may not know that from all the things that I do, but part of that, the reason I do that is because I understand what it takes as an introvert to be involved in these kind of things. And so hopefully we make it welcoming to everybody.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Let's see. What else can we cover? We are at 13 minutes, which is so fun. But,
I can tell you about some of the speakers.
Thank you, Brian.
Yes. Excellent. Well, we got an amazing lineup. There's folks that any one of these folks that you would run into the street, you'd be, this is an amazing person. One of the first persons that we brought in this year and announced was Alistair Kroll. Alistair has been a mentor at InMotion a few years ago. He is the co-author of the book Lean Analytics, which is kind of one of those Bibles of the lean startup movement. He's got a new book out called Just Evil Enough that's coming out, focused on new ways of marketing. Alistair is one of the smartest guys I know. He's run an accelerator. He's run a conference in Montreal. And he's going to be coming in and talking about some of the new things that he's seeing in the world of marketing. We've got people like Tam Danner, who has a strategy firm in Miami, who's coming up. She's worked with companies like Verizon and Twitter and Apple, going to talking about customer discovery and some of the tactics from that perspective. Kaiser Yang, he's got a book out called Cracking the Code, focused on innovation. Sean Shepard. Sean actually came out a couple of years ago. He's a managing partner with U+, and they've developed an AI platform for how do you build companies and make it easier with AI. We've got two great guys that are coming from Valise, which is Rita McGrath's company. Kess and Scott, they used to run innovation efforts at KPMG and Boston Consulting Group. And so they're going to be talking about what it takes to on the corporate front to build innovation. On the entrepreneur front, we've got people like Michaela Rissard. She is with Groove Capital.
Okay.
Going to be talking about the Angel Capital Network, which she's seeing in the Midwest. She's from Minneapolis. Obviously, we've got our homegrown hero, Luke Hansen, who's going to be doing a fireside chat talking about the rise of Company Cam and what he's seen. And then we got a couple of other amazing folks like Morgan Kelton. Morgan is the Chief International Officer for a shoe company called Kizik, which is a fairly new shoe company. He used to work at Nike and Converse and Vans and has spent 30 years in the shoe business. He moved over to this startup called Kizik, which Inc. magazine just ran an article, said it's going to be the next $1 billion shoe company.
Wow.
He's going to be talking about his journey through innovation, both from the corporate and startup side. And then we got some interesting conversations with Anita Durst, who started a nonprofit in New York called Chachu Mao, which takes old abandoned retail space in New York and turns it over to artists and retailers and creates new interactive spaces. And so fireside chat with her as well. So that's just some of the folks that we've got lined up.
Yeah.
We'll be announcing a couple of others, but it's got something for everybody.
That's amazing. Okay, one more question and then one more follow-up. So my final question about Summit is, with all of these speakers, which sounds amazing, how long do you anticipate? How long are the sessions? Are they? Yeah.
Fast and Furious.
Okay.
is the game. So it's basically 20 to 30 minute keynote sessions.
Yeah.
And we do a couple of those. Then we do a break. Keynote, break. Keynote, break. And again, long lunch and long opportunities to interact and meet the people that are actually here doing some interesting things.
That's exciting. So you kind of keep it moving, keep it exciting for people. That sounds awesome. Okay, final question. Why do you care so much? Why are you, and you've been in this space for a really long time. So yes.
Man, it's a good question because you know this. I mean, you've been in the space. It takes a lot to do these things, and there's not always an immediate reward to the effort that you put in. But I truly believe that we've got some exciting things happening here in the Midwest and especially Nebraska, and we just have to kind of energize that and give people the opportunity to raise their hand and say, I want to be part of that. And so that's kind of been the guiding principle. It's like, how do we get more people involved in building, making, moving, shaking, creating things here in the Silicon Prairie area. And so, this is kind of my opportunity to help, leverage the network and the folks that I've met over the many years of doing this and bringing them here to both showcase what we're doing, but also give an opportunity for the folks, on the ground to, interact and be a part of it. So, hopefully we keep doing a great job at bringing people together and we love doing it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for all you do and for the time you put in. You've been at this for a while, so it's really inspiring. And yeah, thanks for all you do.
Thanks, Sean. I appreciate it.